We have a shofar here, which is a ram's horn sounded during Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and the end of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. It's a reminder to people to rethink their lives, to reflect on where they have been, where they are, where they want to be. It's a wake-up call. Now, I was at Ground Zero each day following 9/11 for a period of a month, and I thought, well, Rosh Hashanah is going to happen. The rescuers, some of whom are Jewish, the volunteers, some of whom are Jewish, they're not going to be able to get to the synagogue. So I brought the shofar there, and I sounded the shofar, and interestingly, we stood as a congregation, Jews and non-Jews, because many of the non-Jews had heard about a shofar, never had heard a shofar, so they wanted to be part of that community. So it was very touching to be there. Rosh Hashanah at Ground Zero, a new year. How do you write a new chapter in light of a tragedy that just occurred? Well, that was a real, you want to talk about a conflict of spirit. At one time you say, let it be a sweet year, and the other time you're still tasting the bitterness of what happened this past year. So trying to find a new path for all of us to walk together in the new year was a very, very demanding kind of moment for us. I've always felt that firefighters are the most religious people that ever walked on the earth. I mean, how many people do you know that run into burning buildings, not ever asking, what's the religion of the person on the inside? They're not my brothers and sisters keepers, they're their brothers and sisters saviors, which is a level that many of us could never attain in a lifetime. I think the firefighters, and the ones I've known, even the ones I don't know but I watch, have an inner faith. Why do they do this? Why do they become firefighters? Why does a kid at the age of 5 or 6 say, I want to be a fireman when I grow up? Because there's a real inner desire to save life. They don't do it for the money. They don't do it for the fun. They do it at considerable risk, and they love it. I don't know many people who love risking their lives on a daily basis. Firefighters do. So they're a very unusual group, and they have been able to look at that loss, 343 firefighters who lost their lives, and to say, we're going to begin again. We cannot allow that tragedy to destroy our department. So they take great pride in saying today the department is stronger than it was before. Again, holes in the hearts, but yet a real determination to continue to pursue a commitment to humanity. You never can remove that kind of pain, but what you can do is try to say, I have a choice. I can be miserable, or I can try to make a difference. And aren't I honoring my loved one in the most meaningful fashion by helping someone else? So I think you find that people are doing much for others because this is the legacy. This is the love. This is the lasting kind of tribute that they want to offer. I'm a child of Holocaust survivors. I grew up in a home where my family lost 5 children, came to America, began life again. I always thought that America was a special place. My parents loved America because this presented them with opportunities they never had in Europe. 9/11 was a startling wake-up call that the hatred of the past, while not directed against one group like the Holocaust was against Jews, the hatred out there is very real. It's not something found in history books. It's found in the daily news. So it was a very, very discerning moment for me as a child of survivors to realize that the hatred my parents endured hasn't gone away. It's just taken on a different manifestation. And what am I going to do to counter it? You know, it's interesting. There are some people who look at life and they simply say, what can I do? And there are others who ask, what else can I do? And I'd like to think that we have that responsibility of always asking, what else can I do? So 9/11 for me was, I guess, a kind of a reminder of what my parents must have felt like even though America is still a wonderful place, but there are those who very much want to threaten our existence. Extremes are not going to find solutions. I think sometimes they're not interested in solutions. I think they have an agenda that they want to promote that does not take into account other people's feelings. I think one of the sad commentaries of our time, and we in the world of religion are guilty of it as others are, is that we don't listen enough to other points of view. You know, the Bible says you have to love your neighbor. It also says you have to criticize your neighbor. Those statements are near one another, which means the following: love and criticism go hand in hand. But in today's world, you condemn, you criticize, and the love is missing. On the other hand, I see those who love and never look for any of the problems, which is another issue as well. But we need to find in the religious community a place, an arena, where we can all talk to each other and let that be a model for others in terms of having that reasonable discussion with one another. There has been this kind of mixed reaction. 9/11 was an opportunity that I think we took advantage of in some places and we discarded in other places. Yes, some groups have started meeting with one another, having more meaningful discussions with another. Other groups just continue to remain far apart. And the word religion means to bring together, to tie together. So I always feel that religious leaders in particular have a responsibility to set a standard that says to everyone else, we're in this together. You know, when you go to the airport, say you want to fly on an international flight, you have to walk by the faith chapels before you board. All the faith chapels are contiguous to one another. You can't walk by the synagogue without walking by the mosque, without walking by the church. Now, what does that say? You want to go on that plane? Learn that ultimately you have to fly together. We think of 9/11 every day. You can't escape thinking of 9/11 because people have been touched by it. And therefore, all you do is, when it comes to the anniversary, is try to look back and say, have I made a difference? Is this anniversary different than the others? Are we still in the same place, or are we in a better place? And I'd like to think, even with all of the serious confrontations that we've seen over time, even though there are hostilities based upon difference, that we're not where we were pre-9/11. We're still looking to make it better in a more aggressive fashion. I remember a woman in the civil rights struggle said the following: we're not where we want to be, we're not where we're going to be, but thank God we're not where we used to be.